Hello. In this video, I'm going to go through all the cards that I would play if I was going to build a Radagast of Rhosgobel Commander deck. This is a 4-mana 2/5, and it gives the first creature spell you cast each turn 2 less to cast and can be cast with Flash. So we're going to play big creatures, things that let us untap our things during other players' turns, plenty of ramp since we're a green deck, and some of the strongest creatures the green has to offer, especially value creatures and ETBs. Because if we're casting spells on our opponent's turn, they're entering on the opponent's turn, let's do something with ETBs. The first card is Radagast the Brown. For 4 mana, it's a 2/5. This is the Radagast they printed in Lord of the Rings, not as good as the Hobbit version. Whenever it or another non-token creature enters under your control, look at the top X of your library or X is that creature's mana value. You may reveal a creature card that does not share a creature type with a creature you control from one of those cards and put into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. I did not even consider creature types when I built this deck, but this is just a good piece. It sits in play. You can cast it for green, and it generates value. Will you sometimes hit 2 bears? Will you sometimes hit 2 elves? Yes, but is it worth it for the rest of the time? I think so. It's not good enough as a commander, but I think it is good enough in this case. And the nice thing is that it looks at the mana value, not the mana spent to cast it. So if it's reduced by your commander, you still get to hit the big card. Goreclaw the Terror of Calcisma is 3 and a green for a 4/3. Creature spells you cast with power 4 greater cost 2 less. So with your commander, they cost 4 less, which is like a ton of reduction. And whenever it attacks, each creature you control with power 4 greater gets +1/+1 and trample until end of turn. We all know how annoying it is when we have 6/6 dinosaurs in play and 8/8 Eldrazi in play. They don't have trample, and they just chump block them for days with little human useless soldier tokens, right? Giving everything trample is fantastic. Naila the Keen-Eyed gives your creature spells 1 less. It's a legendary enchantment god. Unless your devotion to green is less than 5, it's not a creature. But with your commander and Naila in play, you just need like 1 or 2 other green creatures and you hit it easily. For 2 and a green, you can reveal the top card. If it's a creature card, you draw it. Otherwise, you may put it into your graveyard. Some card selection, but some card draw for only 3 mana in a mono green deck. Gonna be pretty happy with that. We are playing 41 creatures, so 40% of our deck is a creature. Sorok and Goreclaw. Good old Goreclaw is 4 green for a 6/5 with trample. Gives your other creatures trample. Everything I said about trample applies here. And whenever another non-toon creature enters under your control, put a ++ counter on it, it gains haste. Giving it haste is not super important if you're casting on your opponent's turns, but haste and trample on your turn is very good. Kodama of the East Tree. Whenever another permanent enters under your control, if it was not put onto the battlefield with this ability, you may put a permanent card with equal or lesser mana. Convert a mana cost from your hand onto the battlefield. We are playing 30 something. Let me look. I have the deck list up. If you want to look at the deck list yourself, it's in the description. Check it out. Moxfield, not sponsored. I am playing 36 lands, 38 including MDMCs, 5 artifacts, and 41 creatures. 6 sorceries, 5 instants. So only 89% of the deck you can put into play with this. And it's very good. You can play a 3-drop and put a land into play. You can put a land into play and put another land into play. Very fantastic. Kodama of the East Tree is a great card. Defiler of Vigor is 3 green for a 6/6 trample. As additional cost to cast green permanent spells, you may pay 2 life. It reduces it by green. So really, it gives all of your green spells Phyrexian green, helping you cast more spells by just losing some life. And whenever you cast a green permanent spell, put a ++ counter on each creature you control. Now, it does not put the ++ counter on the creature that you're casting if it's a green creature. I know not all permanents are creatures, but so it's not ETB, put a ++ counter on everything. So it's cast, so it happens before the creature actually enters. Gwenna, Eyes of Gaia is 2 and a green for a 2/3. It adds 2 mana of any combination of colors only to cast creature spells or activate abilities of a creature or a creature card. Again, 41 creatures in the deck. Whenever you cast a creature spell, with power 5 or greater, put a ++ counter on it and tap it. Very good, because untapping it, if you cast a power 5 or greater every turn, including in your opponent's turns, it untaps. You can tap it to cast the next big one, reduced by the cost with Flash from our commander. Very fun. Sylvala, Heart of the Wilds is 1 green for a 2/3. Whenever another creature enters, if its controller controls the biggest thing, they draw a card. And then for green tap, add X mana of any combination of colors or actions greatest power among creatures you control. You're casting your big creatures and adding a ton of mana value. Very good. Fanatic of Ronas adds a green, but adds 4 green if you control a power creature 4 or greater, and you can internalize it. Karametra's Acolyte adds a ton of mana equal to your devotion to green. Beast Whisper rewards you with a draw card every time you cast a creature spell, and so does Primordial Sage, and so does Soul of the Harvest when it enters, and so does Guardian Project, because all of our non-tokens are named different things, and so does the Great Henge. Whenever a non-token creature enters, we draw a card. It also reduces the cost. It also It adds mana, all fantastic. Elemental Bomb when something enters, we draw a card, also great. Groot's Uprising gives things trample and draws us a card when a creature with power 4 or greater enters. Whenever a creature with power under your control, you draw a card if its power is 3 or greater, otherwise put 2+1/+1 counters on it. Now, why did I go through all of those so fast? Because all of these cards are going to help us chain into our other cards. Just having one of these in place and all of your lands untap on each opponent's turns, which I know we haven't gotten to those cards yet, but just constantly drawing cards means that you have 4 turns worth of stuff you can play because they're reduced by 2. So if you're, on theory, casting a 4-drop every time, you only have to have 8 mana to cast 4 4-drops. 2, 2, 2, 2. And that's without any untapping. So drawing cards, keeping your hand full, all of that is super important. And that's why I like all of these cards. Guardian Projects, obviously, Commander staple. Great Henge is a little more expensive, but obviously fantastic and gains you life and puts plus counters on things. Groot's Uprising has the benefit of also giving trample, and Tribute to the World 3 tree makes your Llanowar Elf effects enter much bigger. Silverback Elder. Whenever you cast a creature spell, destroy an artifact or enchantment, you gain 4, or look at the top 5, put a land card from one of them onto the battlefield tapped. So this, having 2 colorless in the cost, 2 green, 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 means you can cast this for just 3 mana at flash speed, which is great. Destroying things, problematic things, putting lands into play, fantastic. Or on Frostfang, love this card. A time creature you control of Death Touch. I love it in my token decks because then the tokens can't be jump blocked. And so that's good. And then it's great to have Trample and Death Touch together because you can just have 1 damage go to the creature and the rest trample over. And whenever a creature controls command player, draw a card. More card draw is so important. Regal Force, whenever it enters, draw a card for each green creature you control. That's token or non-token. In this deck, I don't think there's any tokens, but I just wanted to remind you of that. Again, more card draw. Risk cards, expertise, draw cards equals the greatest power among creatures you control. If you have a Regal Force in play, that's 5. And then whenever you cast, you can cast a spell with 5 or less for free, which is cool. Return of the Wild Speaker, more card draw or across the board ++. Disciple of Freyalise or the Garden of Freyalise. It's a bad land on one side that bolts you for 3 if you wanted to come into play untapped, but the rest of the time it just enters, sacrifices something, you gain X and draw X. Fantastic. Toski Bear Secrets, more card draw. I think you're noticing the theme, and I hope you pick up on the theme. You need to draw as many cards as possible. Plus, a 2-mana Toski is not bad at all. Seedborn Muse, untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. This is insane with all of your draw effects because you can play something, draw, and then go to the next player's turn. You essentially get 4 turns in the game, which is great. Wilderness Reclamation. At the beginning of your end step, you untap all lands you control. So not as crazy as Seedborn Muse, but still going to untap all your lands. And again, if you untap 6 lands, you can cast 3 4-drops over the course of each player's turn. Glade Muse. Whenever a player casts a spell, if it's not their turn, that player draws a card. You're going to cast things with flash speed and reward yourself. Pretty cool. Apex Devastator, Cascade, 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 Cascade. Doing this at flash speed when someone's like attacking you is just going to be so much fun. Galta Stampede Tyrant, another huge guy to put into play that dumps all the creature cards in your hand onto the battlefield. Galta Primal Hunger can cost significantly less, and green flash at 12/12 into play to block someone's commander is insane. Elder Gargaroth attacks or blocks. You make a 3/3, gain 3, or draw a card. And then Vigilance Reach Trample on a 6/6 for 3 mana at flash speed is very good. Kogla the Titan Ape is an ETB fight something, attacks, destroys an artifact or enchantment. You can return a human, give it indestructible. I'm probably playing humans. I literally have no idea. I did not consider creature types when I built it, but I love Kogla's ETB ability. It's very good. Bjorn the Fierce, trample. Other bears get +2/+2. Beginning of combat your turn, put a trample counter on something. I've already explained why trample is so good, and it makes it into a bear. Then if you control 3 or more bears, draw a card. You'll just accidentally hit that, I think. Vigor, trample. If damage we dealt to another creature you control, prevent that damage, but if possible, counter on that creature for each 1 damage prevented this way. If it would be put into your grave from anywhere, shuffle it into your library instead. Flash speed, this is great. Bane of Progress, flash speed, ETB, destroy all artifacts, enchantments, very good. Craterhoof Behemoth, flash speed. Again, you really want to be doing this like after they've declared, okay, no blocks. Flash it in, win. Flash it in, just absolutely destroy a combat when you're blocking, very good. Furious Empath for 1 green, go get Craterhoof Behemoth for 1 green. It's a 1/1 that draws you a card. Eternal Witness, ETB, return from your grave to the battle from your hand. Graveyard to your hand. Dancing from Dark to Dawn, 5 mana enchantment. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put X++ counters on target creature control or X as that spell's mana value. Stick this on one of your tramplers, and then every land that enters also gives you a bear. Heroic Intervention. We're playing a creature-based decks, and it's so important that we protect our stuff, our permanents, enchantments, lands, creatures. You got to protect your stuff against board wipes. Tamio Safekeeping protects one thing against a board wipe and gains you a little bit of life. Lightning Greaves gives haste and shroud, protects our commander, but also means you can hit in hard with one of your like big Galtas at haste speed, and then stick it back on Radagast for free. Arch Druid's Charm, green, 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 searches for a creature or land. If the land put into play, plus a counter, deal damage to something, exile target artifact or enchantment. Just a good modal card. Either go draw the best creature in your deck, go create a hoof to win, put a land into play, doesn't even have to be a basic, fight something, or just exile an artifact or enchantment. Really not bad. Beast Within is unconditional green removal. Bridgeworks Battle is a bolt land on one side that fights something on the other side. I love the dual face cards in this deck, in all decks, but this deck is good. Reclamation Siege, ETB, destroy an artifact or enchantment. Magglehorn, ETB, destroy an artifact. Then artifacts your opponent's joins battlefield tapped. These are just for one green, great removal pieces. Soul Arena's ramp, Arcane Signa's ramp, Emerald Medallion. If we're trying to cast multiple spells in a turn, which heck we are, reducing the cost even more, it's just great. Birds of Paradise is ramp, Delighted Halfling is ramp, Llanowar Elves is ramp, Elvish Mystic is ramp, and Finhard Elves is ramp. Ornithopter of Paradise, you can cast this for 0 mana. 0 mana Birds of Paradise. And then Skura Tribe Elder, Steve, sack for a basic land. Wood Elves for 1 mana to get a forest card into the battlefield. And doesn't even say into play tap. So you can just pay 1 green, and you literally cast it for free because you get a forest back instantly. All of these cards also trigger all of our card draw effects on casting creatures, which is fan-freaking-tastic. So even if you just have 2 of those in play, you play a Llanowar Elves at flash speed, Finhard Elves in your opponent's turn, you draw 2, you're just so happy. Nature's Lore, 3 visits, Rampant Growth, Cultivate, all these are, non-creature ways to ramp. This can get a non-basic forest, it has to get a basic, 1 basic you can, 1 into play. What is the land we're going to be getting the majority of the time? It's either this or the planet. Nixos, Shrine to Nyx, any monocolor deck should be playing this kind of card. Go get it with any of your search for a land into play effects. I guess these have to go get 4, so I can't get those. But there is that ape that can hit it. So Castle Garenbrig, if you pump 4 into it and tap the land, it gives you 6. So really, if you tap 4 forests and the Castle Garenbrig, it gives you 6 mana. So this can generate 2. Mosswort Bridge, Hideaway 4, and then you can cast it if you have a creature. If creatures you control have total power 10 or greater, which is going to be accidental, like you hit that. Boseiju, great card. The planet is a Gaia's Cradle that takes time to station. Reliquary Tower, probably don't need this, but I have this like fancy dream where we're just drawing a ton of cards because that's what I like to do. And then I'm playing 34th. Again, if you want to check out the deck list, it's in the description. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video, subscribe if you have not already. If you want to see more videos like this one, if you want to see other commanders, let me know your thoughts in the comments and what you'd like to see. How do you improve this deck list? But I hope you have a good rest of your day, and may your top decks be ever in your favor. Thank you.